Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer and we are playing Hearts of Iron 4 in the Man the Guns expansion. So we are returning to our war against the Western Allies and trying to find out whether torpedo cruisers are actually good at defeating capital ships in the new Man the Guns expansion. Just between episodes I did upgrade the game. We are now on version 1.61 and I'm very excited about that because there was actually one notification in the changelog relating to a bug that we were actually experiencing, and that is, I suppose it hasn't changed things for us over here, or did it? So it might actually have changed that, so yes indeed. The bug was that the deck size didn't quite upgrade when upgraded when we upgraded our carriers. So we did have various different carrier designs, and in fact the game didn't quite account for that when we upgraded from one version to the other, and it did pretend that it was not actually giving us the deck space. Now it does, and that is fantastic. We should also see that though in the air capacities. So yeah, you can see we only have 40 carrier planes over here, so that means we can now increase the size of these air groups, and we can probably do that for our other ship group as well, the Kido Butai. So let's have a look on that one as well. 60, 60, 60, yeah. So this aircraft down here does only go with fighters for now. We can also load a couple of carrier planes on that. Let's pick the carrier naval bombers number 2. And that should be fine. Good. So we do have 20 carrier groups now deploying on this air group, and we should tell them to do, of course, some naval strikes. Can you please do that during the day? Hopefully you will do that. So that should be good. Okay, so last time we did get into a pretty bloody fight in the Bay of Bengal, where we fought the British Empire forces. We were engaging a couple of heavy ships, even a battleship, and we were doing quite some considerable damage, unless I'm completely mistaken. Let's look over here. So yeah, there's the noteworthy battle, the Battle of the Bay of Bengal, which did cost the enemy 5 heavy cruisers. Is that correct? Yeah, so Grafton, Norfolk, Devonshire, Shropshire and Edgar was lost. Most of these were actually lost, if I'm not mistaken, by our battle cruisers. So it wasn't our torpedoes as such, but it was the battle cruisers that did come in and a naval attack that were sinking these enemy capital ships. On the other hand, we also defeated quite a couple of light hulls, so destroyers basically, that were sunk mostly by our heavy cruisers. So again, our heavy cruisers doing quite a good job. On the other hand, we did lose 2 submarines, we did lose 2 destroyers, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. So yeah, all in all, a very good battle for us. We did beat back the battleship. Unfortunately, we also suffered some of our battle cruisers damage. So if we look at the heavy scout force, you can see it's repairing quite a couple of its ships, and we should actually be able to see under production over here that the Tsukuba has lost about half of its strength. So we are moving that to Taiwan, where we are hoping to find better dockyards to repair it. So that is going to be an important task going forward. And other than that, we will be trying to focus on the Americans, who've just declared war on us. We are trying to mine the Hawaiian Ridge. It's not going to be very successful. This is deep ocean territory, so the probability to hit a mine here individually is very low. But you can see we've dropped a couple of them, and I think it's nice to just come in and hopefully disrupt their attacks a little bit. We are also, most importantly, still in the Bay of Bengal, engaging with our submarines, who've again taken some losses, some convoys. The convoys are trying to disengage, but most importantly, there are about 12 more light ships that are trying to save the enemy from the disruption, and we do have a couple of heavy cruisers, I believe. We should have the first cruiser group assigned to this area, so these guys should be trying to engage relatively aggressively, so I would hope that they do join that battle. Other than that, we are trying to push back the forces in the British Raj territory. In between episodes, I did look around a little bit and I noticed our fuel is still dropping. So we started the war with about 2.5 million gallons or whatever units of fuel. We are down to 2.4. Is that correct? No, we must have... No, we are down to 1.2, so we have lost about half of our fuel, we've burned it. We have still 200 days left, but we did strike south and did get most of the resources that we wanted to. In particular, we got the oil fields in Sumatra and Java from the Dutch East Indies. Also a little bit in North Borneo, but that's pretty much it. There's not much more oil, neither in Australia nor in New Guinea. There isn't even any in the Soviet Union, which is currently trying to justify war against us. Well, there's some in the Soviet Union, but it's way to the west of where we are, mostly in the Caucasus region. So I think there's a little bit of a gap in where we are trying to go, and the only thing I can imagine us doing is trying to get to potentially Iran, and once we've finished off India, do attack into over here. But that is something for another day. We have limited our forces here to just a single army that I do keep on AI control, because I don't want to make it too easy on us. So, that being said, I think we can do one thing, and that is under our tab over here, we can pick an infantry equipment designer, and I think that's going to help our research by quite a bit. The other thing that we are going to do over here is we are going to go to occupied territories, and we are going to be harsher on the Dutch East Indies occupation, because we do not want to have that minus 20% local resources thing, so that's fine, and that means we'll send more forces over here. Meanwhile, we are also trying to take on the Philippines, and with that I'll actually start the game, because I realize I've been talking for 7 minutes. Oh, and lastly, there are some supply issues over here in the north, so let's actually try to get these guys out of that region a little bit more quickly, and that should be alright. Really? Look at that. So here we are. Spotted enemy navies. Okay, so that's interesting. We have found a United States submarine group, if I'm not mistaken. No. 4 to 10 ships. If I am saying submarines. I think I must have read the torpedo thing. So yeah, we don't know exactly what these guys are. We do have the Kido Butai over here, which should be able to strike over there, so that's alright. It's currently docked in Truk, which historically was one of the big naval bases, and we will be coming in over here and trying to find these enemies as soon as they do turn up. But that over here is disencouraging, because that actually means we do need to cover that area with our anti-submarine warfare units. And with that being said, I would particularly like to add this region to you. It does mean we have a very low convoy escort efficiency here, so at some point we might need to do some other things, but yeah, we should at least see our destroyers coming in over here to support us. And what are that? Are these actually troop? No, these are freight convoys. Still, we do see the British or the American submarines operating here for the first time. We've been sort of expecting that for a while, but yeah, not now. Okay, we have more information on the American fleet that is down here. It's apparently made up out of a couple of light cruisers and a couple of destroyers. So that is something that we should be easily able to deal with. And the battle over here is still raging, and now the heavy cruisers have joined or will be joining, so that's nice to see. Again, more fleets being spotted. We have the light cruiser group over here now, and another US fleet, or no, that's just the overview of that fleet. Okay, so that's fine. And there is the fleet over here which we are trying to spot. Things are starting to get a little bit difficult over here. We are losing convoys, but our destroyers are coming in. 40 days. That's a long time. But I do hope that they will be able to engage these submarine wolf packs, because that really seriously is a big issue for us. Convoy raiders, so our convoy raiders are also sinking submarines, so that's lovely to see. We are also bringing in more forces onto the area up here, so onto the Philippine Islands. That's pretty lovely. We can actually start, I think, this combat. We should actually be pretty depleted, I think. We also should have some forces up over here And you'll be in a harbor soon enough, so I might actually ask you to get over here immediately. Yeah, so that's alright. Good. Again, we are trying to fight off, yeah, but we are losing convoys very quickly now. Still only 7 hours or so till our convoys, our protectors arrive. And that's lovely. Now the Americans are trying to disengage. And they'll probably be successful, but we'll have to see about that. And now we have insufficient resources, in particular steel. Because apparently we are losing some to, I think, convoys. I think this must be a convoy issue. And actually, can I ask you to redeliver these here? Still we'll have to see. Naval battle over here. So we did manage to attack 90% of one of the American ships, so that's lovely. Hopefully we'll be able to increase these successes. We are, on the other hand, seeing that the British are now starting to, or the British Raj has started to engage us with aircraft, which is somewhat unfortunate. Ooh, and we do see a very big battle over here, where we have already lost 3 destroyers and a submarine, sunk by HMS Roxborough. Is that the... what? A destroyer? Interesting enough. Received 2 critical hits. Received a lot of critical hits there. By light guns, by torpedoes even. So we have lost some things to torpedoes. On the other hand, the enemy destroyer apparently was also sunk by torpedoes. So that is good to see, but all in all, this battle really could be going a little bit better for us. These are not ratios that I do like. We do have our torpedo cruisers on the way coming in over here, and that should hopefully devastate them once the torpedoes do attack, which I think occurs around every 11th turn. So that might actually be our first time that the torpedo task force has been engaging, and that is indeed very, very lovely. Why do I have that little note? I don't know what that means. Okay, but still, so yeah, we've taken a little bit of repair issues. And yeah, what do we know about these losses? Cruiser hulls, cruiser hulls, cruiser hulls. Early destroyer hulls. But our torpedo cruisers did do some damage, including some killing blows, which I think were the torpedoes. You can even see Asakaze here conducting 2 killing blows, so yeah, that's lovely to see. Yes, I think that is actually, that probably has changed up a little. Okay, but that's fine. So we have been able to conduct a good strike over here. Our first cruiser group will definitely need to conduct some repairs, especially on our heavy cruisers themselves. So these guys do need to repair, and they will probably split off to do that. Right. Good. So far so good. Battle over here is still raging, and I don't want to lose track of all the battles that are going on. Yeah, so more Americans over here. So we drastically need to alter, I think, our strategy in dealing with these convoy escorts. And that is, we are going to pull off the second group over here, and we are going to ask it to cover this region, which I think might be a little bit more critical. And then what we can do over here with the first group is deduct that region, and that should give us a fairly good close coverage closer to Japan, closer to the home islands, and that should hopefully be lovely. Good. There is an issue with the fighters over here, so we do need to spend more efforts in trying to build up our presence, I believe. So we will have to send more forces over here. Let's actually found a new air wing with some more fighters. I think we should have better or more modern fighters than these. Yeah, well, we don't necessarily, but let's use them anyway. And I'll ask you to... You can't even cover that region. Well, that's pathetic, but we could get over here maybe? Alright, so yeah, there's an issue in the Bay of Bengal. And what I think I want to do is take our first cruiser group. Sorry, take the first torpedo boat. Do we or do we not want to send you off? I'm also thinking about some of these guys naval experience, because we could definitely need get more of that. Capital results, so that means a couple of ships sunk. Yeah, so Nimitz is dealing us some heavy blows. No way around that. And we are being attacked over here pretty strongly, so our anti-air force batteries are apparently not working out quite as well as I would have hoped. And that does mean we are losing convoys. Better attack over here, including an attack on American light cruisers and such. Are we covering enough region with our Kido-Butai? The Kido-Butai is covering this area. It's not covering the Philippine Sea, so let's make sure it does, because I would like it to appear over there if there is any issue. Meanwhile, our Marines have landed on these southern islands of the Philippines, so that is good for us, of course. Let's try to make sure that we are pushing out the perimeter here. That should be okay. And up over here, I think we can also advance a little bit, at the very least. More forces coming in over there, that's good to see. More forces coming in over here as well. So what we might actually want to do is send you guys up here. That should be alright. Good. Meanwhile, our battle cruiser has arrived over there, so that does mean that we should be seeing it being repaired a little bit quicker now. But yet, still taking 3 months to fully repair that ship. That is a very significant exercise. Also in the Bay of West Bengal. It doesn't affect our cruiser production, but it certainly does affect some of our other capabilities. So, at least our current capabilities. We can use up to 8 dockyards to repair stuff, so I am going to try to do that. And let's go to the first cruiser group, because I think there were some other ships that could be repaired. And we should potentially do that. Likewise on the first torpedo cruiser group. Heavy fires. Yeah, my friend, you definitely need to repair. Have we got the split off enabled? Yes, we got that, but not sure why you didn't do that then. So actually some of the guys have moved to Calcutta, which is alright. Wait a minute, there's a plan with no one assigned? Oh, this is unfortunate. They were able to break out into us. Resistance to occupation is pretty bad, of course it is. But on the other hand, we do see more naval attacks. Yeah. So let's look at the air war to see whether we are at least doing good in shooting down enemy aircraft. So we lost 4 aircraft, then we lost 6. That's not a good trade in relation to our attacks over there. Where would they be based out of? I don't actually see that many air bases for them. So I'm not sure where they are coming from doing this. Can certainly get over here now. Can you? We don't have that airfield, is what you're telling me? Well, I don't know. Good. At least we are advancing. And we discovered bracket shooting, so that's a nice naval technology now. And I would like to get the technology for separate fire mains, but we can't research that yet, and I do still think our fuel reserves are surprisingly low, and this is taking an extremely long time to research, so we should actually have gotten a bonus for that, but we never did, so it was unfortunate, but I think we simply have to sort of bite the bullet. There is more naval combat with light cruisers of the Americans. The Vincents, I think that was hit by aircraft earlier, and there was another one, CM bases in very low supply, I'm aware of that, and the Celeb C, and what else? Over here? Yeah, just some torpedo attacks, so these ones I'm fine with. And basically that's just us convoy raiding. We have so high attrition, it's just the jungle and it's very hot. Yeah, it's July, so I can see that, yeah, that does make sense. We need to advance more aggressively though to try to maintain our front line and reinforce these guys. because there is definitely a big issue there. Well, other than that, we are sinking quite a couple of ships, so that is nice. We're also getting improved infantry equipment, and I of course do want to research better infantry equipment, so that is nice. We've unassigned to divisions. These are mostly anti-partisan units, which I appreciate very much because we are lacking those significantly, very significantly. You, for example, would need 19 divisions, but you only have 2. Likewise, you have... Yeah, so we can assign 3 to you. Let's pick 3 to you, and that should be fine. You need 7, so you'll get another 2. And then we'll see. Good, more naval results. I think that was us losing infantry even. Although I hope we didn't lose entire divisions. That would certainly be extremely bad for us. Can you actually move via rail? Yeah, thank you. Right, so naval combat down here. Convoy raiding, that's decent. It's not critical, but decent. And up here we really need you to push up more strongly and aggressively. I would really appreciate if you did that. Do we have any modification for that? Can we ask it? Ooh, yeah, you have apparently gained another trait, infantry leader. That is extremely good for us. So, yeah, let's pick infantry expert. That is extremely good. We're also, of course, trying to get our submarine commanders, in particular Admiral Otsawa over here, to get the Sea Wolf ability. That's taking extremely long times. More minor naval battles that don't concern us too much. Celeb C is being engaged. We are pushing up over here. So all in all, we are doing all right. Are these actually troop transports, or... Yes, they are, so it would be extremely good for us to take that, and we should really try to take Manila. We are being attacked over there as well, so that is unfortunate. We certainly want to ask you to conduct your offenses. Right, and since we have regained some strength over here, let's try to use that. Let's try to use some of our guys here as well to advance into some unoccupied territory at least. There's naval combat, there's firstly naval combat over here where we're sinking some divisions, that's good. We do have another important naval combat, or at least it's flagged as important, where they've already sunk 6 of our destroyers. So that leaves us entirely blank without destroyers. And that is not a good position to be in, because these guys do have torpedoes as well, and I think we might be losing some of our heavy cruisers for that purpose. We've also spotted, apparently, an American... Is it American? I don't see anything. No, I really don't see anything. Okay, can you guys repair? Thank you. Okay, so let's look at that naval combat and let's see whether it ends up horribly for us. I mean, it already did. Losing 6 destroyers is not to be taken lightly. On the other hand, these guys are apparently trying to disengage. But yeah, we are suffering some hits here on the Haraguru. Mostly from light cruisers, but that was not good. That was not in our interest. I think it was Americans inflicting these losses, so that we'll have to see about. Unless I'm mistaken, I'm also thinking that we are seeing more forces over here from the Indians, so we might not actually be quite as capable of fending them off as we would have hoped. Also, light cruiser, the Vincent's traveling through this strait, which I can only assume does mean it's trying to withdraw somewhere. And for the first time we are seeing that we don't have enough capabilities of repairing our ships, because apparently we are not assigning enough sufficient naval bases to do that. So we have 2 alternatives now, but given that these are sort of out of sync anyway, so the last torpedo cruiser is only gonna show up on the 4th of September, I think what we want to do over here is actually assign up to 18 shipyards to repairs. It won't take that fully, but I do think that repairing our ships is more important than anything else. So yeah, that's going to be alright. We are seeing the first battle up here. I think we might be alright. The Philippine forces apparently aren't that well suited to that fight. So I think that's fine. Fall of Manila for the Emperor. Advanced computing machine at the same time, so that's good to see. That comes from the engineering tab, where we could do encryption, which I think would be okay. We're also somewhat behind actually on technology by now, and industrial technology, so production efficiency cap and construction going into excavation might be extremely good for us. Do we actually have any decisions for more oil? We do not. So that is something that we do need to think about. How do we get more oil? Oil processing, actually fuel from refineries. We are getting so little from refineries to begin with that I don't think that's very worthwhile. On the engineering tab again, I'm not entirely convinced that these things are the way to go ahead. Direct ground support would be extremely useful, and in terms of land doctrine we are already doing our research, so that is fine. Artillery would also be good to upgrade. The current one doesn't even give them that much more soft attack, so maybe that's not a priority. Support companies, all of these would be helpful, maybe especially logistics. Yeah, I think we'll probably have to go into logistics. It's going to take 120 days, but it would be helpful. On the other hand, air doctrine, you know what, we do have a lot of air experience, so let's actually spend the air experience to increase our research there a little bit. Naval battle, we did sink a lot, whereas these guys, even the convoys seem to be... Really? The convoy sunk? No, that can't be. There's a bug over here. I refuse to believe that my ships were sunk by convoys. Might have been Q ships. Of course, convoys were lightly armed in World War II, but that would just be ridiculous. We are trying to upgrade quite a couple of our aircrafts here, so might want to send more forces, more factories into that area. Well, our carrier-borne aircraft we seem to be okay. In terms of infantry upgrades, I'm going to hold off on that for now. And we seem to be losing out on steel as well. So, yeah, in fact, I think more fighters are going to be a good idea. And that's alright. Yeah, and that does leave us with a couple of ships over here. And the cruiser group, which is by now reduced to completely only heavy cruisers. And that is certainly not something that I'm going to tolerate. So let's actually pick up a couple of our torpedo boats. And what we're going to do is we're going to split off, torpedo cruisers. We're going to split off, let's call it 6 of these ships. Yeah, I think that does make sense. So let's create a new task force with these 6 ships. And we are going to ask the 6 ships to come up and pair with the first cruiser group. And that does mean we'll be getting a couple of screening vessels, and I think that's going to be a very nice and good idea. A couple of things are of course repairing, so we might be getting a couple of things back, but yeah, that should be alright. And you know what, I think we are going to ask it to be a little bit less aggressive in its approach. And I think that's going to be alright too. Making some progress up here, and I know I've been saying that I don't want to advance manually, but this is just too stupid. So yeah, let's go ahead and advance manually into there. So all in all, not that much progress. We did manage to reduce our supply issues up here. We did manage to sink a couple of ships and come into Japan here quite nicely, I would say. But still, the Philippines haven't fallen yet, so that is certainly an issue. Can try to capture more territory like that. And you guys are sort of all advancing into here, aren't you? Yeah, so that should pop very, very quickly. And that means you guys can advance down here. And you might actually want to go try to cut them off over here, and I think then that hopefully they should surrender very quickly. Historically, I was just reading about the defenses that the Americans and Filipino forces put up in the Bay of Manila. For quite a while, for months, they were besieged over there, so certainly a very interesting and impressive stance that they had. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how well our light cruisers pair up with these heavy cruisers. But I think they might be okay, and we've seen that our heavy cruisers have done serious damage to the enemy forces, so I would actually like to upgrade them a little bit. They are right now not the most advanced design. In fact, I think we've never taken any care of them. So that's mostly the Uyoko class, which again, yeah, couple of torpedoes, some surface detection, good guns, good main guns. No AA, no fire control, no radar, no secondaries. So it would be nice to do sort of a dual purpose gun over here. Maybe good radar installation. Certainly some AA batteries. That would make for a much better ship already. You can see the light attack would go up, light piercing would go up, heavy attack would even go up, anti-air would... It's non-existent at the moment. And even surface detection would go up very nicely. We might even think about replacing one of our torpedoes with a light attack battery, but for now I don't think that's the most important issue. And again, just we do like torpedoes, so there is that. Lastly, could I ask you to be please be based over there? Take note of this air superiority mission over Eastern India, and you, sir, can then ask. I can ask to go to the Bay of Bengal as well. Lastly, let's take a look at our construction. We are building up some airfields in Manchuria so that we can hopefully engage some Russians should they come knocking. Building some more naval bases is also fine, and building quite a couple of airfields in the Pacific region is also a good idea, I think. So yeah, all in all, pretty happy about these build crews. Some of this infrastructure could be repaired a little bit quicker. I don't think Singapore is important, so yeah, we'll have to see about that. Would we get more oil if the infrastructure was better? I think the infrastructure right now is extremely low. Fuel capacity. Ew, it does increase fuel capacity? Interesting. Alright, nevertheless, time is running out, so let's see what happens. We have been in our first battles with the Americans in this episode, so I'm extremely happy about that. And we can see that we have been, in the current month, losing 14 ships, including a lot of convoys, some light hulls, some destroyers were lost by us, the Akakuchi and the Hatomishio. So yeah, these are significant losses. Likewise over here, more light ships being lost, destroyers lost, and I think last month we've probably been losing quite a couple of our submarines. Yeah, so our submarines are starting to wear a little thin. This group should actually have 6 submarines, and it's lost quite a couple of them. So yeah, we'll have to see about that, but for now I do think we are fine. What we might actually want to do is place one of our groups into reserve over here, and then it will split off and send some of these forces into these categories. We also have minesweepers, but I don't think we've seen too many naval enemy mines in any of our regions that we're operating in. So yeah, that's fine. You guys are coming into position, and then you should advance, so that's alright. And we can, lastly, for this episode, pull off a couple of our marines and place them somewhere else, and I do think it would make good sense to capture Guam. So yeah, let's put you into Truk, and I think from there, you know what, actually let's go to Saipan, or one of these areas up here. Why can't I move you there? Come on, you should be able to be based over here. But yeah, just going there. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's send you into Palau. Meh. Maybe I just misclicked. Nope, apparently it's not possible. I don't know why. Okay, so that's fine. Do let me know what you think about the oil situation, whether we'll be able to take out enough oil, whether the Soviet Union is going to come knocking, and whether we'll actually be able to take out any enemy ships with torpedoes. Any capital enemy ships, that is. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.